team up front, but it's not possible right now that everybody's here. Someone coming out of downtown. And so I don't know what circumstances are downtown right now, but we're going to take just a moment of silence and thoughts for kind of active process that's going on down there. There seems to be a shooter still at large right downtown in Seattle right now. And it's serious. And we have work to do here, and we will continue to do that work. But we're going to start with just a moment of silence. Thanks for coming up front. We're going to start with a moment of silence, and then I'm going to read just an acknowledgement of the land that we're on to start tonight. And then we're going to kind of move forward. Okay, so thanks. We'll just take like a minute. Read an acknowledgement to start. Common Purpose acknowledges that this workshop in Washington Hall is located on the unceded land and waters of the Duwamish, Muckleshoot, Suquamish, Snoqualmie, and Tulalip. These people are not only the first stewards of this land in which we work, live, and community, but they are still here. As we celebrate this evening and do this work, we recognize and remember that we are here on the land of these indigenous individuals, and this recognition comes with accountability to support tribal enterprises and partner with tribal leadership. Work around voting is ultimately a racial justice issue in the United States. We wish it wasn't so, but it is. Fundamentally it is, and it has been from the beginning in the United States. So thank you for coming tonight. There's a bunch of leadership team folks here. There's a couple standing over here, okay? So we're just going to do a quick kind of, come on over, all right? And anybody else who's in the room right now, Wale and I don't know if AJ and Daniel are out front, and Larcy and Charles are on their way. But you know many of these folks, but I just don't even feel right without starting with all of us, or as many of us as I can. We're just going to start with our little, oh good, we're just going to start with our great tradition, where one of each of us is going to say our name, and you're going to yell it back at us as loud as you can. Because we need your energy. All right? And then we're going to say what we do for Common Purpose, and then our dream vacation spot. Because maybe some of you want to pop for it, okay? So my name is David. I do field work and education for Common Purpose, and my dream vacation spot is Honolulu. Just saying.
All right, hey everybody, my name is Maria. Love that, thank you. And I'm the development manager with Common Purpose, so I'm happy to take donations in support of our work and do fundraiser parties and cultivation and stewardship. And I'm also a co-lead for the Iowa. And my favorite vacation spot is a very sunny place. And it is one Seattle Sunshine Coffee with one David Donkey.
Well, I'm a little shorter than Maria. It's okay, it's okay. Hi everyone, my name is MJ. So nice to see everyone. And I am the community manager here at Common Purpose. And what that means is that, well, Maria receives, the funds, but I receive the time. So give me your time, give me all your volunteering opportunities, and I will let you know what's going on. I manage the Facebook page too, so that's me. And my favorite vacation. Oh, I know, Mont Lake Fuel Coffee with David.
Hey, my name is Wale. I'm the program manager for Common Purpose for branding and marketing. So yeah, give me your pictures and share the work that we do with your friends and family. My favorite place to vacation is, honestly, I didn't even get I ended up with David talking.
Hey everybody, can everybody hear me? Alright, my name is Daniel. And this is my second week as our civic fieldwork manager. Thank you very much. I'm one of the state leads for Texas, so you'll hear from me in a little bit. And then I'm also going to manage all of our Washington state work. So if you want to get involved with voter registration opportunities, get out and vote, letter writing, phone banking, you'd be working with me, and I'm really excited to work with all of you. My upcoming favorite vacation spot would be with David's dog, McDuff, in his kitchen.
Hello, folks. Oops. I realized I got that much bass in my voice. My name is AJ. I see a lot of familiar faces. My best friend Rita. I head up youth leadership development for Common Purpose, and yesterday was my 1 year at CP. I survived 1 year civics. My favorite vacation spot is going back to Kenya to be with my family. With my mom. with my mom. I'm also the Virginia State Captain, VA stand-up. We had 50 folks, and we did excellent. So, I'm going to join an all-star team.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bert. And I'm a contract consultant with Common Purpose, and basically I do the numbers. So I'm really pleased to be here. I am also MJ's co-lead to Florida. We meet in 2 weeks. And my favorite vacation spot is any place my grandkids want to go.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Larcy Douglas, and I am also Miss Oh my God, thank you very much. I literally just flew through the door. My favorite vacation spot is probably Zoka Coffee with David. And I'm also your Colorado State lead for this year for 2020. I'm super excited. I see some faces out there, but I cannot wait to talk to you. We do have one more staff lead that's making his way this way, so as soon as he comes in, we'll put him on the mic. Most of you will recognize his face. She just needed a few more minutes to get to the building today. So thank you all for being here, and cannot wait to see what the rest of the night has in store for all of us. And let's go CP.
Who might be watching tonight, either live streaming or will subsequently watch this on video, because we're going to make it available. I mean, I'm thinking a couple million people might watch this, and so they're up. We're recording from up there. So Wole, just being the marketing guy that he is, could I say hello to them? So let's all turn around and say hello. All right. Thanks for all coming out tonight. I want to do one thing quick here to get us started. We gave you several handouts. Come on up front. Last staff member coming in. Come on up. I want to make sure you all got the handouts. There are 4 handouts. The first one's got a lot of text on it. That looks like a kind of a class handout. It's the kind of stuff I give to students at UW. Anybody not got that one? Anybody not got that handout? Over here, we got somebody over here. A couple more. Charles, come on up. Anybody else? Is there a few over here? We got a few over here. Next handout we want to make sure you got is one that you have is one with 3 circles on it: mindset, mojo, and mobilization. So if you don't have that one, please, because these are going to be useful for us as we go. So we got 2 folks over here. We got somebody back over there. Maybe let's see.
and I have been rehearsing a dance. Just bear with us. We're going to perform. You guys can use it? You got it? With the music.
You ready? Sure.
Introduce yourself, Charles.
We're not doing a dance.
We're not ready for it yet. Everybody got the table? There's a table handout that's got a lot of states listed on it. Anybody not have the table handout? Over here. Anybody over here? Did you get the table handout? Over here? Thanks, Mary. Then there's one more handout, and it's got the map. It's got the U.S. map on it. Anybody not get the U.S. map handout? Okay. We got a couple in the middle area over here for the U.S. map handout.
Good evening. My name is Charles. Hey! I just came for that part. My name is Charles, and I am here for all of you. I am here for all of you. What's my favorite? What was it again? Favorite vacation spot? My favorite spot to be in the world is in the passenger seat next to David Down. 9 or 10 p.m. talking about the future of this country. That's my favorite. Does that sound like anything else that came before me? Did it? We didn't plan that, David. I don't think we planned it. This is all honest. My second favorite place to be is right in front of a piece of paper with our leadership team's heart on it, and it's those 3 circles that are in front of you. They're hanging out right in front of you. A lot of organizations that I've worked with, a lot of organizations that I've been a part of, give a lot of good lip service to things. We're going to skip ahead really quickly because I'm going to make a point. In the Mojo Circle, what does it say for number 1? That is why I'm not up here by myself. Okay? In teams and in community. We're going to do it together. You got number 1.
All right, so number 1, mindset. And I know that a lot of you have gone to our intro workshops on the second Saturdays. Thank you so much. So you're all familiar with this. But these 3 things are the things that are core to who we are and make us unique and make us special. And that mindset for us, the first part on there, we believe that democracy should be just and inclusive. We know there are a lot of ways that it's not as just and inclusive as it could be. So many forms of voter suppression that are, the reason why a lot of us are here today. And we also believe that we have a responsibility to make it more just and inclusive by taking action. It's our responsibility for the folks that came before us and put their lives on the line, sacrificed a lot for us to be here. It's our responsibility for the folks that will be coming after us. And it's our responsibility, I think, for those of us that have privileges to use those privileges to help folks who don't have those privileges. So we believe it should be more just and inclusive, and it's our responsibility to make it so by action. Mindset.
Make it so by action. A lot of us would agree that we should have a just and inclusive democracy. That's easy. That's easy. To do so by action, that's the part that you had to push through to get here today, right? And That's the difference between us and other organizations. That's the difference between us and, Twitter. I believe a lot when I post on Twitter, when I scream at the TV. To do so by action is why you're here with Common Purpose. Let's go to Mojo. This is the part that we think makes us different from other organizations in a really, really big way. So what you saw here was me on the microphone about to deliver these 3 circles to you, and I called up my 2 teammates because I'm just so used to doing everything together. That is how we do everything at Common Purpose. We do everything in teams. When you were in Virginia, you're knocking on doors. You're doing it with people.
Amen.
That's right. North Carolina, by yourself? No, sir. No, sir. Right? All right. We do it together in teams. And this is something that I promise you on day one I was not down for. And this is one of those like David Donkey things where he likes to kumbaya and he'll hold hands. I was here to do the work too. I was just here to do the work. And I found out how rich it was when you do it with community and teams. Also, that's how we get people to come back, is when they do it with each other. The work is great. The work drives you. But all of the negative is not going to keep you here. The thing that's going to keep you here are the people doing the work with you. And that's why we necessitate that we do this work in teams and in community. When we go out to do it in groups of people. When we knock on doors, we do it in pairs. When we learn, we do it together. Community and teams. The next part of Mojo is next generation leaders. So after 2016, there's a lot of kvetching on why this happened. What happened? What was the thing that went down? We thought in 2008 and in 2012 that we'd change the world. That's what we thought. And we took our eye off the ball. We all went back to our lives, and we took our eye off the ball. The thing that we realize now is that in order to compete and to win, you have to do it every single cycle, every single year. You have to build a progressive foundation, and you can't just show up when there's an election. You got to show up in these communities, and you got to show up and show up and show up and show up again. When you're going to Florida in a week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, you're going to Florida. How many people? 48 people. 48 people. There's no one else going to Florida with 48 people in 2 weeks. But we're showing up because that partnership is strong and because we are down for that community. So it's a long-term bet. It's a long-term investment. And a part of long-term is not just thinking about 2020. It's about being here for 2021 and 2022. And 5 years and 10 years after that. And to do that, you gotta get folks as old as this gentleman here. How old are you?
23 and a half.
Holy cow. You know, one of the biggest epiphanies for me was, and we were in the office one day, and I've got Wale. Where's Wale at? Up there. I've got Wale to like one side of me, and I have David to another side of me. And I looked at both of them, and I'm doing the math, and I go, holy crap. There is the same number of years between Wale and I as there is between David and me. That's next generation right there. And that's what we do. That's what makes us special, is that we are ready for 2020. But we are getting ready for 2030. For 20, that's not the right year, is it? It's like 40 years. 32, thank you. That was almost really poetic. We're getting ready. And we're getting ready because of people like Kevin Pittsburgh. That's Mojo.
Thanks, Sean. Okay. So the third circle is mobilize. And I'm going to be working on this because actually I think that it's going to mean more coming from our state captains. And I just want to say, on behalf of all of us, we are so thankful to our state captains for tonight, for taking time and for showing up and really being the stewards of these states and these partner organizations. So for everybody that's in this state, thank you so much. You're going to hear from them about the 2 bullet points points in Mobilize, which is first that we catalyze, or we register and then catalyze voters, okay? And there's a difference between those two things. I'll go really quick. As an organization, it is philosophically important to us that we do not just show up when there's an election, right? It is very important for us to make contact in communities and show people that we care early on in times like the spring. And your state captains are going to tell you this when you go and do breakouts. But it is really, really important that we meet communities where they're at early on in the year and make contact and let them know that we care and that we know that there's an election coming up. And then it is really important that we follow up with them when it's GOTV and it's the fall. We are not just here to show up for an election, right, and get things done and go home. That is not who we are, and they're going to tell you that when they talk about their partner organizations. Second is that we follow the lead of our partner organizations, and that is something that they'll talk about logistically. Like, it's easy for us to follow our partner organizations. We want to do, because they know their communities best, right? But philosophically, it's important as well because it's very, very critical to not go into communities as the folks from the Northwest, from Washington, from Seattle, the progressives up here, and think that we know any better about somebody's community than they know about themselves. So that is also really important. Again, your state captains are going to tell you that is who we are, that's what we do, and they are going to be so much better at talking about what that actually means in their work and their communication with these organizations. Really excited to do these breakouts. Thank you.
Okay, one last thing before I hand this back over to David. Thank you too. Is you may have sat through that and gone, I've already heard this. I already heard this thing. I came to the intro workshop. I drank the Kool-Aid already. This is so important to us that we're going to repeat it over and over and over again because we believe this stuff. We live this, these three circles. So when you're out in the field and you're making decisions, or things are starting to stress you out a little bit, or you're wondering why, what for, and how, those three circles, that's what everything passes through. Go back to those. Center yourself and keep fighting. All right.
All right. So you came tonight. Well, thank you for coming tonight. When we started the Common Purpose back in 2018 in March, I really hoped that maybe 50 people might want to go somewhere and do some work. We have 1,400 people on our email list now. We have 19 states that you'll hear about tonight. We have over 25 partner organizations in other states. We have 10 staffers, staff members. We have another 25 to 30 team leads. And really, this is us. This is us. And I love it, and I'm honored, and I'm also determined because it really is going to take all of this. It is. You look at CNN's poll yesterday, you look at the national numbers, don't do it. The national numbers are a facade. They mean nothing. The national numbers would show Trump losing by 5 or 10. But when you go to the battleground states, it's in the CNN poll, Biden by 2, Warren losing by 1, Sanders tied, Buttigieg losing by 4, Klobuchar losing by 2. Those are the states that we're in, right? So let's start, as I would encourage you to start where I start, with the expectation that Donald Trump will be reelected if we do not do everything we possibly can. And the U.S. Senate will continue in Mitch McConnell's hands if we do not do everything we can. So I just got one question. Are we ready? Yes! All right. So we're going to try to go through this as fast as possible, but these are our team leads, and my God, I love them, and I'm not going to throw them off the stage, but we'll just try to stand over close to when time's up, okay? But we're going to try to go 2 minutes through it, and we're going to start with the team that's actually getting on the plane in less than 24 hours, right?
Okay, and I'm sure David's going to be timing me, so I'm going to do this quick. Okay, so I see some Texas folks here. We're on a plane tomorrow. We're going to Houston to go to Texas. Why is that important? Because for all of this talk about the presidency and about the Senate and about the House, right, the thing that I really care about in Texas is the state legislature. There are 150 state legislature seats in Texas, and Democrats need to take 9 to be able to have control of the state legislature. Why that is so important is because it's not about 2020, it's about 2021. And 2021 means that, there we go. 2021 means that we're going to be doing redistricting, right? We're going to be drawing the maps in a more fair way, and that is central to who we are and what we do here. And so I love Texas as a battleground state for the future in 21st century America. I really do. But I think that what makes Texas so special is that 200,000 Latinx people will register to vote in the state of Texas every year between 2020 and 2030. This demographic shift is huge in this state, and Democrats need control to be able to draw these maps in a more fair way that is equitable and that people have access to the ballot. And so that is by far the most important reason you can come with me to Texas, not tomorrow, but in the fall to a couple of cities. We are going to be with an awesome organization called Move Texas in probably in 2 major metro areas, Dallas and in San Antonio. And I really want you to come and join us in this work, not just for the potential of flipping Texas blue at the presidential level, not just to be incredibly unpopular Senator John Cornyn, not just to win potentially some of 6 U.S. House seats that have come open through retirements, right? But the state legislature, and really actually change Texas from red to purple to blue for the next decade, okay? Yeah.
So Daniel is partnered with Chen Nesbitt, who's not here tonight, right? Two our folks who are state team leaders here. So I should say to you, you have 2 handouts that are useful as we go through these pitches. You have the map and you have this table, okay? The map and the table. Geographically, if you don't know where Texas is, you can find it on the map, all right? It's the really small state in the Northeast, Massachusetts, okay. You can find Texas, but the table lists the 4 criteria we use to select states, because we don't want to waste your time when we select states. They are key presidential states, and/or they're key U.S. Senate states, and/or they have key U.S. House races, and/or they have key state-level races, and Texas has a lot of key state-level races, all right? So you might want to take notes as you go. You might want to look at those. There are 19 states on that map. On the table, you'll see 2 in italics. I don't want to forget to say this. I want to say it now. There are 2 in italics. Those are 2 that are reserved for a special group that we have going. So this is a whole bunch of what we call CP Now, people that are doing the work right now. But we are committed, as Charles was talking about, to next, all right? And we call that CP Now. And so because of the support of a good chunk of you, and because of the hard work of colleagues of mine, we have built a millennial outreach program also, okay? So we have 7 millennial teams that will be traveling by themselves in the fall. And those 2 that are italics, are millennial only for this fall. It's our first endeavor as millennial only to Nevada and Virginia. We've been to both of those already, and we will be back there again for CP Now, our baby boomerish population. But we think it's really, really important to provide opportunities for millennials, and that's where some of the fundraising we do goes to, okay? So next up, we're going to stay in the South, all right, is going to be North Carolina, all right, North Carolina.
Hi everybody, my name is Jordan. I use he, him pronouns. Andy. And we're going to do our pitch together. I'll start with sort of some of the hard facts, and then Andy's going to share some of his personal experiences from North Carolina. So if you look at the table that you got tonight, you will notice that of the 19 states that Common Purpose is working in this year, there are only 2 that are a big yes in every single column. North Carolina is one of those states. Everything is on the line in North Carolina this year. When it comes to the presidency, even though a lot of people tend to think of North Carolina as a conservative state, it's important to remember that it voted for Barack Obama in 2008. That's recent history, and that can happen again this year. When it comes to the Senate, Tom Tillis, a Republican, is considered one of the most vulnerable senators. And so in our effort to take back the Senate, North Carolina is going to be a key focus there. When it comes to both the U.S. House and also state legislative races, all of those contests are going to be fought in brand new legislative districts that have just been drawn because a court ruled that the old existing districts were so blatantly gerrymandered with racist intent that they could not stand any longer, and they needed to draw new boundaries for this election. So there's going to be a great opportunity to pick up U.S. House seats and also try to flip the state legislature, which, as Daniel pointed out, is going to be really helpful when it comes to redistricting again in 2021. And just for one bonus, which is not even on the table, the governorship is also up for re-election this year, currently held by a Democrat, Roy Cooper, and we need to make sure that he stays in that seat as well. So if you want the most bang for your buck, come to North Carolina this year.
Hi, I want you to come to North Carolina and make all these changes so I can go home again. That's where I was born, that's where I worked out. That's where I started my life in the civil rights. I was there the first day of the marches and the demonstrations. So we want you to do that because we talked about, how we got to this point. We got to this point because we didn't stay in the rules. That we gave up. We thought everything was okay. And people need to understand there are always people working just the opposite to take it away from us. So it's not just for you, but it is for your grandchildren and your grandchildren and anyone else your neighbors, because that's why we got to do it. That's why we need to go to North Carolina. There is a great possibility of making some significant changes, and I'm serious about going there because I don't live there anymore, and I won't live there anymore. But I want to be able to go back and feel comfortable when I go back there. And making these changes will really make a big difference. So please, I wish I could go with you. I guess I need to say this because I'm disappointed. About in September, I was diagnosed with a blood cancer, not leukemia. This one is tricky because it becomes a part of your DNA. And so I have very low blood, which means I have very low oxygen. I don't have any real serious ability to fight germs. And so I try to pick and choose because I'm still going to live my life. I'm still going to do things. I'm still going to be involved as long as I can. And I want to see every one of you do it and make your own commitment for now and into the future and educate everybody you can so that they will do the same thing. Thank you.
Georgia. All right, our Georgia. Wally's going to come on down. Yvonne's going to come on up. All right, Georgia.
Hello, I'm Yvonne. My partner, Wole. A long time ago, but I'm here to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about the state of Georgia. So the good, peaches, pecans, peanuts. Georgia's the #1 producer of all three of those. They're also the home for the headquarters of Coca-Cola, and they do have automatic voter registration at the age of 18 now. So it's the good. The bad. I apologize in advance if this 75,000 untested, untried voting machines for 2020. What could possibly go wrong? So the ugly, the really ugly, there are 5 key areas of voter suppression that people kind of track and follow. Georgia's the only state that has implemented all 5 of those. In the last 12 years, they've purged close to 2 million people off the voter rolls. And they stole the 2018 governor's election. Anybody hear Stacey Abrams? So, why should you, and I mean every one of you, go to Georgia? And I'm not saying instead of the other states that also need your help. I'm talking about in addition to. All of you should come to Georgia. And the reason is, Georgia is a blue state that has been hijacked by voter suppression. There are a lot of outstanding organizations on the ground doing really hard work, and they need you, they need us, they need our energy, they need our time, they need our support in order to ensure just and inclusive elections in Georgia. So come join us. We'll let you tell you more.
So, I heard there was a lot of Stacey Abrams fans, right? So some of the organizations that we'll be working with, like Fair Fight and the New Georgia Project, were started by so we have, right now, we're coordinating with the New Georgia Project to come in March to start working on voter registration. And then we have 2 other trips planned throughout the year to work with them on get out the vote efforts and also voter registration efforts as well. We'll also be working with the Democratic Party to do with their voter protection program. Like Yvonne said, they're releasing up to 25,000 new polling machines and 75,000 new voting machines, and they need help just making sure that people know how to use them, making sure that people are watching the voter units and just voting in general, and making sure that things are going smoothly, making sure that other people can ask for help on the hotline and in person. So it's really important work. Like Yvonne said, if you want to get in on the ground and work on America's most pressing issue, which is voter suppression in our nation, Georgia is ground zero for that work. So come and join us. You can either talk to one of us, sign up on the emails, and we'll be around for questions as well.
We'll say this a couple times tonight. On the website is every state now has a one-pager that you can click on that summarizes the things that have been said, the dates of travel, the email information for these leadership team folks. All those are on there. Every state team, set of leads has created these. Charles Douglas put them up. They're ready. They're there. So all this information is going to be available for you on the website on the National Fieldwork page by the states. Florida, our last state kind of like designated in the South, Florida.
Hi, I'm Bert. And I am MJ's co-lead. And the reason I'm happy to be MJ's co-lead is because I don't have a co-lead. And David came to me and said, I have a perfect match for you, and it's MJ. And I am so thrilled. And there's a really specific reason, because MJ is going to lead a small team in Florida to do something we've never done before. So everybody going to Florida, how many hands? Who's in the house? Yeah. 48 of us are going back to Florida. We leave on February 7th. This is our 4th trip into Florida. 4th trip by Common Purpose. Why would we do that? We do that because we know how important Florida is. We do that because we had a chance to help with the largest re-enfranchisement of voters in the United States, and we did it. 1.6 million voters got the right to vote. But this is Florida. What do we know about Florida? We know about ads. We know about governors who are elected by less than 1% of the vote. And we know Republican-led legislature would stand, and they did not. Just last week, the state Supreme Court upheld another really egregious amendment, Amendment 4, and it means that it is going to reduce the amount of voters, primarily African Americans, from 1.6 million down to now they're estimating about 600,000. So we are going back. We are going into districts we have never gone in before because we are going to turn purple blue. We are going to talk to voters who have never been canvassed. And MJ is going to tell you all about that.
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction. As Bert mentioned, we are going back to Florida because these people need us, right? Fourth Amendment passed, and then everything went down the drain. Everything, and now people still don't know they can vote, and now they can vote, but they have to pay fees. And so we need to go and tell them that, right? We need to inform them. I'm, like said, I am going to lead a group of Spanish speakers in our team. I am beyond excited and honored to be doing this work with all of you who are going to Florida with me. The Spanish speakers who are going to be able to connect with the people directly and speak to them and tell them that they are able to vote. We know that there's a large population of Americans who have just moved to Florida who can vote. We need to let them know, hey, this is happening. We need your voice. We need your vote. So I'm really excited. We have also some really cool things going on in Florida. A woman of color who is who is the manager of the impeachment process right now in Florida. So it's great, right? We have a lot of people in Florida, and we're going to go there and support them. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you all in Florida. Maybe not this time around, but next time around. Actually, I missed something. I'm sorry. I apologize. Something that I'm really excited to announce. During the weekend, someone had a birthday. Bert had a birthday! Please join me really quick in just celebrating her. Can we just sing really quick happy birthday to Bert? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bert. Happy birthday to you. And if anyone knows anything about Bert loves McDonald's. So we're going to give Bert a little certificate so she can get herself a little something. Congrats, Bert. So excited. Thank you.
Okay. When we're done with all the states, I'll say a few words about kind of like maybe prioritization of different states. They're all important. They're all really important, and we're just going to go through them right now. But I will say a few things when we're all done. We're going to swing all the way west, back from the south right now. We're going to go all the way up to Alaska. All right. So we're going to bring up Emily, our Alaska State Team Lead.
Hi, I'm Emily. And this is my first time speaking in front of such a large conference for Common Purpose, and it's my first time as a state lead. So bear with me, but I'm super, super excited, and I'm actually leading 3 states, but right now I'm just going to talk about Alaska. So who that lives in the Seattle area does not want to go to Alaska? No one. Everyone wants to go to Alaska. Have you been? No, you have not. Okay, fine. Some of you have been. Don't raise your hands. You're proving me wrong. So everyone wants to go to Alaska. Add to that the excitement of the possibility of flipping a Senate seat, a U.S. Senate seat. We have got to take back the Senate. Okay? All of this will be for naught. Not really, but I'm just going to say that. If we don't take back the Senate, I mean, all of our work is important, but we really, really, really need to flip a Senate seat. And we also might be able to flip a House seat. There is only one, and there is a huge, huge chance that we can flip that seat. We came really close 2 years ago, and now it could really happen. So in Alaska, they have automatic voter registration. That was voted in 2016, and it went into effect in 2018. There are 50,000 more people registered to vote there, and a lot of them did not vote in 2018 when they were able to. And so one of our big focuses there is getting these voters mobilized, making sure they know where their polling place is, or that they can mail their ballot in if they live in Anchorage. So speaking of Anchorage, we are going there in April, end of March. There is a really important municipal election on April 7th. And so we are partnering with some really cool progressive organizations for that municipal election in Anchorage. And the groundwork, what we cover there in April, is really going to set the scene for how successful we can be in November for the general election. So 2 trips. One will be in the spring for these municipal elections in Anchorage, and then the next one will be in the fall for Get Out the Vote. The 2 candidates that we are currently looking at, that I mentioned, the Senate seat and the House seat. So we have Dr. Al Gross, who's a native Alaskan. His mother lives here in Seattle. He is a physician. We do not have enough physicians in Congress at all. He's a commercial fisherman and has a huge, huge chance of flipping that Senate seat. And then the woman who is running for the House ran for that seat in 2018. Her name is Elise Galvin. She came within 14,000 votes. So if we can get those voters turned out, she can win that seat. So I will be over there in my corner. No one saw Dirty Dancing recently, so they put me in a corner. And if you're interested in Alaska, please come see me after this is over. Thank you.
We'll see Emily again in a second. That municipal election, the organizations we're partnering with, they're testing some different get out the vote strategies. They're testing them, and they need a whole group of volunteers, and we're going to come be those volunteers for that, which they will then implement the most effective approach in the fall. All right, very cool. Next up from the West, we'll go with Washington State, right? Washington State. Is he running downstairs? Yeah, Daniel! Okay.
So, I thought Jamie Lynn was going to be here. But, okay, so the Washington team is also really exciting. So, you know, Channing is my co-lead for Texas as well. He's also going to be doing some Washington State stuff. And then, how many of y'all know Jamie Lynn Wheeler? Right? Isn't Jamie Lynn awesome? Jamie Lynn is our Washington State strategist from Fuse, Washington. I also need a quick show of hands. How many folks are born and raised in Washington? Here. Okay. That is me. That is me too. And that's why I'm really, really, really proud to do this work and focus on Washington State. I love this state so much. I don't care what anybody says. It is the most beautiful, naturally state in America. And it has the kindest people, including all of you. And I'm really hopeful that you come and work with me in Washington State for so many different reasons. There's a lot to get plugged in with, whether that's voter registration or the get out the vote efforts that we're going to do to get Carolyn Long elected down in the 3rd. Right? We are going to unseat Jamie Herrera Butler, and we are going to put Carolyn Long, the Wazoo Coug, in the 3rd CD, right, and get a little bit more progressive and a little bit more equitable in this congressional delegation. We're going to be working at the Washington State level in the legislature, in some legislative races as well, both in the 8th CD and in the 3rd CD, so there's plenty of work there to do. We're going to register a ton of voters here. We are really fortunate. We are really, really fortunate to live in a state where we don't have to run into the types of voter suppression efforts that there are in Georgia or in Texas or in North Carolina. We're really, really fortunate, but there's still so much work that we can do. And I'm really, really hopeful that we can come work together. You can get trained here in Washington, and then you can maybe go out and do work in another state. Think of it as a little ramp. You'll work with me, and then you'll get to graduate to work with one of these awesome state leads for the fall. And it just really means a lot to me that there are so many people in this room who are here in my home who want to benefit their neighbors here in Washington. And so I really, really, really thank you for being here. And come work with me in Washington. There's going to be a lot to do, and you'll hear from me. Okay?
Cool.
You're going to do work if we need it in the 8th also, right? Yes. So we have Daniel worked on the Kim Schreier campaign. You raised money, helped her to get elected. Actually, you were at an event this morning with her, right? Yeah. And we will work in the 8th if it looks competitive. We will. Okay. Next up, Colorado. All right.
Sorry, I'm a little slow nowadays, lugging this watermelon. Hi, Mary. How are you? You want to go first? Okay, she doesn't. Well, I just came back from Denver, and I attended the Women's March over there to also meet our partner org, which is the Dems. And the thing that I like about that institution is that they have a long-term strategy about next generation leaders. I'm used to coming into rooms where I'm the youngest person there, and for once, this person who we will be coordinating with, the statewide coordinator, is actually a lot younger than I am, and I was so pleased to see his leadership really full force. That's how he welcomed somebody from Seattle to come 8 months pregnant just to shake their hands and get involved in what they're doing. So I'm excited about that. So when we were attending the Women's March, we were registering voters. There was an actual cutout of Cory Gardner, who is not very well liked right now, a cardboard replica of him, and they were going around planting him in just corners of the march and asking citizens, if this was Cory in front of you, what would you say to him? And then there was video footage of people recording it so they can send it to him. And some of the comments and messages did not seem promising that this guy's going to keep his seat. So we have a very, very, very vulnerable Republican that is a fall in line kind of person, and they don't like him there. So we are planning on traveling probably late May, early June. That's something we're still kind of working the kinks right now that I've got some feedback from our partner orgs. So beautiful sunshine, Colorado. I loved going there. It was my first time. Seeing the mountains kind of was similar to the Washington kind of landscape here. So if you're never been to Colorado, you're gonna see something like that. It's not all flat. But if anything else, and I'm so sorry other state leads, this is totally a cheap shot on my part, but if you are choosing anything else why you're going to travel, all of you multi-staters out there, is eventually when we do travel, I need some baby cuddlers. So, baby will be coming with us, and you will get to meet the newest member in our community, and she will be a few months old when we travel together. And this is not promoting at all about next gen. I'm not trying to be a baby machine here for common purpose, I did it. But other than that, we are looking forward to working with our partner org and really traveling there. We will also be doing GOTV in the fall, and the cool thing about Colorado is that we get to pick up ballots at the door. And so we can knock on someone's door and say, hey, did you vote yet? And if they say no, you can say, I will pick it up in an hour, and I will see you then. And we do have the ability to take those ballots into the polling stations if you do not have the ability to do so, or they just want to hand it over to us. So it's just a quick little piece of running around you can do in GOTV stuff that Colorado does allow volunteers to do.
Thank you, Marcy. We didn't say Marcy.
Marcy!
We said it before. I'm Mary. Hi.
Mary.
And I'm so excited to be co-leading Colorado with Marcy because she has the ace in the belly, as she mentioned. But also, Colorado is a beautiful state that is, I think, a really great example for where a lot of our country's going. So there's really independently minded people who are working very close to the land. So these are the ranchers and the farmers. They have flipped their votes a lot over the last decade or two. So they're very movable. They're very independently minded. They're very pro-impeachment generally right now. And then there's this young population in the urban areas, in the Denvers and Boulders and Colorado Springs, that are lots of immigrants, lots of really young people who have never voted. So we have this chance to build a really interesting coalition of young urban dwellers as well as rural people very close to the land and get them to get Gardner out. And there's also a really interesting initiative that I can never remember the acronym, but it's the NP, it's the initiatives that several states are trying to, what is it? Sorry, you remember that. Anyway, someone can look it up. I've got it in my very fine font here. But if the electoral college goes for a certain way, all of their votes will go towards that. So avoid that difference in the public vote versus the electoral college vote. So that's an interesting initiative on the ballot. And also, the America the Beautiful was penned in Colorado because it is so beautiful. So I'm bringing my hiking poles. So we really want to see you guys in Colorado. Thanks.
Last but not least, I wanted to introduce my first millennial that will be traveling with me. And I want Sarah B in the back to stand up really quick. She will be leading my Colorado millennial group to do voter reg and also GOTV stuff. So keep an eye on her. She is a rock star. She's done this work before. I think I picked a good one. Thanks, Sarah.
The initiative that Mary was referencing, and I got perked up because I get really excited about this stuff, is called the National Popular Vote Compact. And so it would take a constitutional amendment to get rid of the Electoral College. But another way to deal with it is to get enough states to pass laws that say that they will honor the popular vote with their Electoral College votes. And we're up to about 200 Electoral College votes. States now have passed laws. So we need to get to 270, but it automatically kicks in at 270. And these are traditionally bluer states. So Colorado's got it on the ballot this year, you're saying, Mary, and I didn't know that. They got it on the ballot this year, popular vote. Okay, the last state in the West is Arizona.
Mexico City. That is my favorite place to ever go to. There's just a lot of culture there. One of the things why I joined Common Purpose with Luke is because I'm a huge advocate when it comes to immigrants, and which is why I'm excited to go to Arizona. And especially people who are born in the States and grow up in a different culture and don't really know the whole thing about like voting and anything like that. So yeah.
All right. My name's Luke. That's pretty cool. So we're going to Arizona for a lot of reasons. Brandon shared some of them, but there's the state senate and the state house is flippable in Arizona. Martha McSally needs to lose her job. And there are 11 electoral college votes that are up for grabs there. So for a lot of really good reasons, we're going to Arizona. We're going to work with organizations there that we've partnered with before, Mi Familia Vota, Lucha. We have a recent connection made with a group called Fair Vote Arizona, which is working to get a ballot initiative passed that would add voter registration, or excuse me, automatic voter registration in Arizona, same-day registration in Arizona. Some big stuff going on there, and we hope to contribute to all those efforts. Okay, so when David told us about this, he said prepare something. And so far, I haven't seen any of the other teams with something prepared to share. So we're going to get into the Arizona mojo a little bit here. That's right. We asked our community, our Arizona community, a little bit about themselves at our last meeting. We asked them about where they were from. And these are the responses that we got. We are from Washington. This Washington. We are from Idaho, Oregon, and California. We are from Vashon.
We are from Italy, India, and Turkey. We are from Bainbridge. We are from Connecticut, Maine, North Carolina, and New York.
We are from Olympia. We are from Arizona, New Mexico, Ohio, and Minnesota. From Maryland, Virginia, and Georgia. We are from Washington. The other Washington.
We are 100% Chinese. We are from Japan, Peru, and France. We're from Seattle, the PNW, upper left USA. We are from
everywhere. We're from hiking, skiing, cycling, and mountain climbing. We're from gardening and farmers markets.
From coffee and bridge with friends. We are from dancing, from reading, and from writing.
From parenting.
And from grandparenting.
We are from tennis and urban sketch watercolor.
We are from classical and baroque. From old, from 1960s, from 1970s, and my favorite, 1980s.
Rock music. We are from Randy Carlisle, yoga music and jazz. We're from Motown and too much NPR.
We are from a wonderful house in San Fernando Valley, from long family trips, and from Expo City at 12 years old.
We're from swimming on Bainbridge and from island beaches. We're from crabbing, family picnics, and canoe trips. We are from fluorescence at night.
We are from playing in the street
and playing in the woods. We are from mentors, parents, and grandparents.
We are from grandchildren.
We are from
Donkey and Obama.
We are from Mary Oliver and Uncle Ross, from Mom,
and from Dad. We are from our friends. And we are from Purpose, Arizona.
Thank you.
What they said was also apparent that no one listens to me when I ask the team captains, right? So they provided something really awesome. Thank you for sharing a little snippet of the folks that are going to Arizona. All right, I know that like we're going through a lot of states here, but imagine those U.S. senators who are sitting for hours. They're still sitting right now, right? And then damn it, they should stay there for fucking ever to receive. Swing all the way east now, all the way far, far northeast. Because one of those U.S. senators we're going for, right? Yeah. Maine.
We got the memo. Thank you for Arizona for leading the way, but yeah, we also got the
Hi everyone, my name is Amina. I am a recent college grad of career journalism. I love to travel, read, listen to pop music. And my ideal night is with my family and having Oh, my ideal night includes watching a rom-com with my family and eating desserts.
Hi, I'm Anita. I teach at the University of Washington. Corduroy is my superpower of fabric. And in my spare time, I'm a James Beard cookbook judge. And for those of you that might not know what that's all about, it's kind of like the Oscars for food writing.
We were told to prepare the top 1 or 2 civic reasons to come volunteer with us in May and October. We have 2.
Here's the first. We're going to defeat Susan Collins and put the Senate back blue in the state of Maine. This is reason number 1. We're going to put Sarah Gideon as a Democrat and a senator in Maine. That's reason number 1. But we've got a second reason.
Reason number 2 is we are going to defeat Susan Collins and
engaging and activating immigrant communities.
And there is a second reason you should come to Maine, because we have our very own mascot. Welcome, Lenny the Crab. So, Lenny the Lobster. Why should
people volunteer in Maine?
Well, Amina, lobsters need nice cold water to survive, and we know that given climate change, we need to elect progressive politicians that actually believe in science and elect people who are going to do something about climate change so we can continue to enjoy the waters in Maine.
And what can folks expect from coming to Maine?
Well, Maine has beautiful scenery, beautiful people, and beautiful food, but please choose blueberries over lobsters, because in 1926, they pulled a 51-pound lobster, my uncle, out of the ocean. He was over 100 years old, and I'm hoping to outlive him, so see you soon in Maine. Joyfully invite you to join us the first weekend in May. We're going to be partnering with our existing partners that we started with in September, the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center, the League of Women Voters. So we'll be doing a weekend of immigrant registration for voting up in Lewiston and Auburn, and then we're going to be there at the end of October all the way through Election Day. Come talk to us tonight. We're really looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going down the coast to Pennsylvania.
Awesome job with the props, Team Maine. It's great. My name is Sly. I am one of the original Common Purposers. I was here in 2018. Here representing the state of Pennsylvania. I have my co-state captain in the back here. Russ, raise your hand, please. I'm going to touch on three really quick things. One is going to be the importance of Pennsylvania as a state. The second, I'm going to gush a little bit about our state partner that we're going to work with. And the third one, I'm going to talk about the impact that we have the opportunity to make there. First thing, this will dictate the next few things I say. Raise your hand, please, if you do not think Pennsylvania is an important state to win in the election. Okay, good. Next thing I'll talk about is our partner organization that we're going to work with down there. I feel like finding a partner organization to work with is the most important and one of the most difficult things to do if you're coming from a different state to a place you know nothing about. We have found a partner organization called Pittsburgh United that shares values with Common Purpose. They share the commitment that Common Purpose shares, and they have a drive and a work ethic that is also similar to Common Purpose. They're a grassroots organization. They have been mobilizing and organizing for the past 12 years, but in the last 3 or 4 years in particular, they have really been gearing up for 2020. And they are fired up, absolutely ready to go, and we're going to be able to go there to Western Pennsylvania and add horsepower to the work that they're doing. It is just a beautiful fit. Last night we actually had an event with our representative from Pittsburgh United. He was in town, and we got a few folks that are interested in traveling to Pennsylvania together at a house party, and just love to hear him talk about their work, answer questions for our group, and I feel like it was a great event. Those of you who were there, looking forward to talking to you more over the Pennsylvania area when we talk later. So that's the second thing, is our partner organization. Our third thing is the impact that we're going to be able to have. Like a lot of other groups have talked about, we have the opportunity to work top to bottom on the ballot. We have congressional races to try to impact. Obviously, we have the presidential race to impact. The legislature is another huge target for the work that we're going to be doing in Pennsylvania. So the ramifications of that are endless. We're looking at trying to elect the right people that are going to draw the state boundaries in the next census, and couldn't be more important for the state of Pennsylvania. So looking forward to talking to you all more. If you have questions, Sly, Russ, we're here to answer them.
Sly, I was looking at the maps. I didn't hear, know if you said this, so sorry. You're in travel early April, right? Yes. First week of April, Pennsylvania's going for voter reg. All right, we're going to swing west into the Midwest now, and we're going to end in the Midwest on this trip, on this kind of overview of the states. We're going to go just a little bit west, cross the state line to Ohio. All right, Ohio.
Hello, everybody. My name is Troy. Yeah, it's so awesome to see you all out here tonight on a Wednesday night. It's really awesome, inspiring for sure. I was born in Youngstown, Ohio. So I want to go back to Ohio. That's where we're going. My grandfather worked at a GM plant in Lordstown, Ohio for his whole career. And my grandmother was born in Ohio. My mother was born in Ohio. And the place has a special place in my heart. That's why I have to go back. And I want to go back with as many of you as will go with us. And we'll get it.
I am back. Of course, I can't say no to David Dumpy, but I am glad to be back. I was one of the starters of Common Purpose in 2018. So my name is Ruget. If you have trouble remembering it or pronouncing it, just remember Ruget like baguette. That's great. Well, I was talking to a few people and they were like, why are you going to Ohio? Isn't that a lost cause? Why would you even want to go there? It's a red state. Well, I remember I also thought it was a lost cause going to Kentucky last fall. And I followed the volunteers that went with me, but I really was not sure that we could really wrap this up. And somehow it happened. So Ohio is really a red state, but I intend to go out there, turn every rock of voter that hasn't voted in the past year or in the past election. And we're gonna work with an organization called Ohio Collaborative. And if you know me, you know that I love to eat, I love to drink, so traveling with me will be a really fun time. We're gonna get a lot of shit done, but we're also gonna have fun. So please join us.
So two main reasons why you should consider Ohio outside of the fact that I love it and you want to travel with us. It's a big ass state, so it has a lot of electoral college votes, 7th most in the nation. Let's get those votes for the Democratic candidate. And 18 electoral college votes. The other reason is that it is the most predictive state in terms of who wins the presidency. Since 1896, Ohio has not chosen the president twice. 1896, so 29 out of the last 31 presidential elections, Ohio has gone with who's gone to win the nomination. So let's make sure that that's the Democratic candidate this time. Yeah, another reason that you should go with us is that we're going in mid-June, and we're going then so we can show you fireflies. The summers in Ohio are a little hot, but it's worth it because you can catch fireflies and put it in a jar, and it's a magical thing, and you're going to need something to take your mind off campaigning for a little while. So please come join us and catch fireflies and maybe change the state for us.
We'll be available in about an hour to answer questions if you have them. Thank you.
About an hour. It'll be about 15 minutes, and then we'll be ready to do Q&A with folks around the room. We are going to swing south a little bit now. Anybody want to go to Kentucky? Yeah. And we got, Emily's going to come back up front and talk about Kentucky and Kansas. All right. She had mentioned earlier that she's leading 3 states. Emily Carmichael is also the chair of the board for Emerge Washington. Right? So, yeah.
This shirt was in USPS Purgatory for like a week, and it came today. Thank God, because this is pretty much all I gotta say, right? We're gonna ditch Mitch, right? Who wants to ditch Mitch? Exactly. So Common Purpose went to Kentucky in November and totally kicked ass. excuse me. So we are going to build upon that momentum, and we're going to get rid of this guy. Because he is seriously the biggest threat to our democracy right now. And I could go into a lot of details on that, but I'm not going to, because you can just Google why is Mitch McConnell terrible? You'll find a lot of information on that. I did that today. I mean, I knew, but I wanted some really specific details. So we are planning 2 trips. One will be voter registration, most likely with Planned Parenthood. Little known fact, or maybe to you it is a little known fact, it was to me until recently, that Planned Parenthood of the Greater Northwest now includes Kentucky and Indiana. So we do have a partnership with them in some ways, and have a relationship with some Planned Parenthood people in Kentucky. I think for now that is who we'll be doing our voter registration with. And then we'll be doing canvassing to get out the vote, to ditch Mitch, with the state Dems. They have a volunteer coordinator for people like us, which is totally incredible. It's something that if you've done this kind of work before, you don't find that everywhere. Kentucky, so I'm from Alabama. Kentucky I see is on your list as being Midwest. As an Alabamian, I would disagree with that, but that's okay. And just a couple things. So there's, Kentucky has something called whiskey or bourbon, so that's one reason to go there. It is a beautiful state. It's actually got a lot of mountains. I have been there, but it's just been a very long time. So you should totally come to Kentucky with me. My southern accent will come out of hiding, and I'm a whole lot of fun, so please come with me. You guys, I'm not leaving because I am also the team lead for Kansas, so just pretend like this went away. I don't have time to take this off. You know you've always wanted to go to Kansas. You saw that movie. Don't worry, that's not going to happen. We're not going to go during tornado season. We might be there during tornado season. But right now I'm telling you that we're not. So. We're not. Why are we going to Kansas? Yes. Okay, yes. One reason is to defend Sharice David's House seat she won in 2018. She is a badass. She's like the textbook definition. She's a former MMA fighter, a lawyer, a Native woman. I've met her in person. She's amazing. So we've got to help her hold on to that seat. She won that in 2018. She was one of the blue wave in 2018. And then guess what else we're going to do in Kansas? We're going to flip a Senate seat. You're seeing a trend here. And I'm not kidding, y'all. We really can do this. Chris Kobach is running for a seat that's being vacated. Thank you, yeah. By Pat Roberts. Not that Pat Roberts, but the one who's currently a senator. That seat is being left vacant. And Chris Kobach is running for it. He lost in 2018. He lost the governorship to Laura Kelly, who's another amazing badass woman. And his opponent is a woman named Barbara Bollier, who has been in the state legislature for many years. She's currently a state senator. And a couple of years ago, she switched her party from Republican to Democrat because she just couldn't deal anymore. She is definitely a more centrist or more, has always been more progressive, fought for a long time against another great Kansas governor, Sam Brownback's very incredibly harmful economic policies. Anyway, I'm getting too in the weeds here. But anyway, Barbara Bollier is running against Chris Kobach for Senate. And we are currently in talks with the Democratic Party there. And I spoke with someone the other day who told me that Barbara Bollier is the only Republican she has voted for, or probably ever will vote for, and now that she's a Democrat, she cannot wait to cast her vote. So we're going to go get out the vote and flip another Senate seat. Thank you.
Planned Parenthood of Kentucky and Indiana, like many Planned Parenthoods in the South and in the Midwest, really struggles financially. So they built a partnership. Planned Parenthood nationally decided to build partnerships between coastal blue states and Midwestern and Southern states. This is why we have like the Northwest Planned Parenthood partnered with Indiana and Indiana and Kentucky. And we had the great fortune when we were in Kentucky in November to meet with the field organizers for them. And she just said it would be incredible if we could come and support them for voter registration. All right. So next up, we're still staying in the Midwest. We're ending in the Midwest. We're going to swing north to Iowa. All right, Iowa.
She said finally, because we were so excited to talk to you guys today about Iowa. But anyways, my name is Maria. Maria. And this is my partner.
Mary.
Mary. And I just want to say something about Mary really quick, because when I came on with Common Purpose, also in March of 2018 with some other folks here, I was the volunteer state lead for a Nevada team. And there was one Mary Fiegel that was with me on that Nevada team. And I've also been honest as well about, when I first joined, I wasn't sure at all if, folks that look like you would listen to somebody like me trying to lead a group to a place I've never been. And Mary was one of those people that always was supportive of me, always had my back, and I couldn't be more happy to go back with her to a different state now, to Iowa, where she is from. So I just want to thank Mary.
Born and raised, this is the front of me, and this is the back. Because I think a lot of people get us confused with Idaho and Ohio. We're going to talk about why there's a distinctive difference.
It's really important. Iowa is a really, really important state. And you've heard a lot of other states say that they've got, the most important things and that they're hitting all the places on the ballot. And Iowa is one of those places. It's important for the presidency, it's important for the Senate, it's important for the House, and it has state stuff going on. And I also think that Iowa might have some of the worst political villains that we want to get out. And I was hearing some boos from Mitch McConnell and some other folks, and I hope you boo some of the people that we talk about and feel that energy and join us to get rid of them. And the first one I want to talk about is the Senate. We've heard how important the Senate is, and there's a senator we want to get out of there. Mary, tell me about her.
You can boo along with me as I talk about her. Some of you have probably heard of her. Her name is Joni Ernst. She has one of the strictest anti-abortion records in Congress. She's embarrassing, I feel. She has a strong record of voting for the ACA repeal, much to the anger of her own fellow Iowans. And she has voted with Trump 91% of the time. So we'd like to see her leave. And good news just recently is that her approval rating fell 13% among Republican voters in this last quarter. So,
yeah, she hasn't been doing that well. She also has an opponent, Teresa Greenfield, and if you haven't heard of her, she's Emily's endorsed, and she's gaining momentum, out fundraising Joni Ernst at every turn, and so we're hoping to be able to support her and get Joni Ernst out of there. All right, we also have another villain in the Iowa House of Representatives, or in the House of Representatives from Iowa. And Iowa has 4 congressional districts, and in the 4th congressional district, there is a representative named Steve King. I love it so much. Okay, so we don't like Steve King. He's infamous, He said those things. He's called the migrant children drug mules. He has suggested putting an electric fence at the border. He said that thing about suggesting that humanity might not exist today if it were not for rape and incest. Boo! So this guy does not reflect the values of Iowans. We're really wanting to work to get him out of there. And he also, his opponent, J.D. Scholten, actually ran against him in 2018 and only lost by a few percentage points. And he's running again, so we're excited to get behind him. But in the House, it isn't so bad. We actually have 2 folks that we are wanting to support. Right, Mary?
No. This is going just like we rehearsed it. Yes, we have 2, and they're young, and the first time, I'm embarrassed to say this as an Iowan, for the first time, 2 female House of Representatives. And elected, yes, first time in 2018. Amy Finkenauer and Cindy Axney, both of whom are really strong women who have been fighting hard for everything from bipartisan immigrant reform to the environment, to education, to affordable health care. These are women who are making a statement right now and will continue to. And as far as Abby is concerned, she is next to Cortez, the youngest House of Representative member. So we want to see her establish a career that will soar.
Yeah, I think she was elected at 29 years old, just 4 years off from me, so Mary had said, I've got some time. All right, so we had the Senate, we had the House, and also on the state level, there's some important things going on. And I don't know if any of the other state leads can say this, but in Iowa, there are 5 Supreme Court seats that are going to be up for election this year. 5. It's a big deal. And it's actually been some controversy around this recently because actually in 2019, 2 of the Supreme Court justices passed away tragically. One of them, Justice Mark Cady, being the gentleman who recently found it constitutional in Iowa for women to get an abortion. And it was very constitutional, and so now there's been a lot of efforts towards the Supreme Court races, and everyone's saying that the courts are about to get much more conservative. We don't want that to happen. So we've got 5 Supreme Court races that also need your help. And those we're hoping to be able to do as we work all the way down the ballot. And also as we continue to work on the ballot on the state legislative level, the governor of Iowa, her name is Governor Kim Reynolds, has recently been pushing for something that I think is quite amazing because she's a Republican, and it's not often that I get up here and say that a Republican did something amazing. But Iowa has one of the strictest voter laws against folks who have previously been convicted of felonies. In Iowa, if you're a felon, you permanently lose your right to vote unless you petition the president or the governor, which you can imagine how often that happens. And Kim Reynolds has been trying to work towards helping them get their rights back, but the state legislature is controlled by Republicans, and she's not getting a lot of support. So if we can work down the ballot, we can hopefully work towards that in 2022. And lastly, we are also really excited about our partner organization that Mary worked really hard to connect us with.
Yes, I want to say before I talk about our partner organization, who goes by the name of Iowa Citizens for Community Involvement. For those of you who are new to the Common Purpose movement as volunteers, we spend a lot of time vetting those organizations. It's not like we just do a kind of roulette, and, oh, this sounds like a good one. I spent at least 2 solid months of talking to my progressive friends back in Iowa and talking to many other people in the Common Purpose community about a good organization with whom we could affiliate. And I feel we really found one, again, in Iowa Citizens for Community Involvement. And I want to share a story with you about this partnership that happened last week. After some emails and back and forth, I actually called one of their staff members, and she said, I'm having a really hard time believing what you said. And I thought, what did I say? She said that you're coming just to do whatever we want you to do. And I said, yeah, that's how we work. And she said, that's never happened in the history of our organization, and they're 50 years old. And she said, we get a lot of people, most recently, right before these pre-caucus days especially, who call us from the East Coast, who call us from the South, who call us from our own state, and tell us what they think we should be doing. I said, that's not how we work. And I think for those of you that are first-time volunteers that are going to go out to the states, have something to remember that's the heart and soul. Charles spoke about it, David speaks about it often, but it's really what distinguishes us. And I have to admit, when I first started in 2018 with the first wave, I was a skeptic about whether or not this whole business of community was going to work. And David had us do some exercises that I thought, really? But I'm here to say that it not only works, but there's nothing stronger than a community that's working on behalf of democracy. So I envy you that first experience. I'm delighted to be back working with a tremendous person in Maria. And we ask you to join us. I know my kids say, Mom, why would anyone want to go to Iowa? There's nothing to do there. There's a lot to do there. We've got a lot of work to do. And we're fun. I know Gab said she's fun, but we're really fun. And we want you with us. So.
All right, we've got 2 M's and a W left. We're going to go to Minnesota now. And Kylie is going to make the pitch on behalf of our Minnesota captain. So.
Hi, my name is Kylie. Like David said, I'm not the Minnesota state lead. I just started as a fieldwork associate with Common Purpose. I'm a sophomore at the University of Washington. I'm studying political science, and I'm really excited to be here. So I just want to tell you a little bit about Maggie, our Minnesota State Team lead. She's working on a local campaign right now because she actually lives in Minnesota. So she's really in tune with the local politics going on. She's really excited about the partner organization that Minnesota will be working with, especially because it's full of young, diverse people. And like all of the other states up here, Minnesota is super important for 2020. And if that isn't enough to entice you, she wants to let you know that the first trip will be in the summer. And there's lots to do, including over 10,000 lakes nearby. So I just want to talk a little bit about why Minnesota is important. First, protecting Minnesota. So Clinton won by a really slim margin there in 2016. And Republicans have been investing a lot of time and energy in registering for Republican voters, so we obviously have to counter that. The second reason is switching the local Senate. The Democrats are down 2 seats, and a lot of progressive legislation and school funding and stuff to do with voter registration is dying. And the last one is progressive people-powered movements. So Maggie was really excited that Minnesota has a lot of people that are really excited and eager to get involved and work hard and take fate kind of like into their own hands, is how she described it. And it's important to build this up and focus on, like we just heard, the local partner organizations and their works, because they are going to be sustaining this when we leave. And then one little interesting fact about Minnesota is the only state to have elected a professional wrestler as governor. That's Minnesota. Thank you.
So Kylie is just joined Common Purpose a couple weeks ago. She's a fieldwork associate intern for us. She's 19 years old, right? And the greatest privilege I have in my professional world right now is to work with these incredible team. Right? So Kylie, it's really great to have you. Michigan is up next, and then we got 1 W. And then we're going to be ready to go to the bathroom and just go talk to all the team leads.
Yeah, the bathroom. I should have thought about that. Didn't know they were going to save the best for almost last. So, in 2020, the eyes of the nation are going to be. Oh, I'm right. Sorry. In 2020, the eyes of the nation are once again going to be on Michigan because we've got 4 critical close races. Look at your little table, 4 big yeses. It is a cornucopia for political junkies. It is the quadfecta of electoral race. Okay? So a lot going on. Number 1 presidential race. In 2016, Trump won the state by 0.2%. Closest in the country. He's been back there, I don't know, a dozen times, because he wants that state again. 16 electoral votes. Democrats can't knock him out if they can't take Michigan. Second, there's first term, kind of not so well known Democratic Senator Gary Peters. He's running against a very successful black businessman from Detroit, John James, who almost won a Senate race last time. So, again, U.S. Senate, do we care? I think so. We got to hold that seat. Third, Elisa Slotkin. We worked for her in 2018. We've got some Michigan people here. She had us out to the farm. We fell in love with this woman. She's a true American patriot. She led, as a freshman, the House authorization for use of military force on the Iran deal that President Trump's trying to get us in war over there. So, and her district, she won by 3 percentage points. Trump won it by 7 percentage points. She's already had $1.25 million spent against her on negative things. So we got to go have her back because she is one of the people who is most vulnerable in the new freshman class. Fourth, the State House has been under the Republican thumb for a decade because they gerrymandered it in 2010. This time, the State House is fairly close, and it could be that that gerrymandering system could get overturned with change in the State House. The thing about Michigan, it's a really kind of tippy purple state, and who shows up really matters. In 2016, the youth vote and people of color were way down, and Trump won, and the Republicans won. 2018, with a little bit of our help and a lot of other people's, more people of color turned out, the youth vote was up, and suburban women started gradually moving towards the Democrats. So Democrats had a very good year in 2018. 2020, we don't know, it's who shows up. Who shows up really matters. That's one of the reasons we're going to show up. What are our plans? We have May 10th through the 17th. We'll be back there working with a local partner called Engage, focusing on Muslim American voter registration, voter education. Suburban Detroit has the largest concentration of Arab Americans and Muslim Americans in the U.S. I don't think they're going to vote for Trump. So we're going to work hard to get them registered and activated. And then we'll also be working in May with the Elisa Slotkin campaign. September, we got enough people we think that we're going to go twice in September. September 13th through the 20th, and the 24th of September through the October 4th. What are we doing then? We're going back to metropolitan Detroit again, and we'll be working with the Democratic presidential nominee, whoever she or he may be. We will be working with Senator Peters' campaign, the Elisa Slotkin campaign. So that's what we're going to be doing. My co-captain is Danish Mebab. He and I are veteran captains, so we can guarantee you that your time will be well spent if you join us. So those are all kind of the hard facts about it, but here's the real thing. We have a really cool hand signal in Michigan. So, and I don't want to, downplay other states. I mean, there is, there's, right, Ohio, there's Pennsylvania, maybe Colorado, but I would like you all to put your hands up if you would. Okay. Now flip your thumbs the other way. Now take your left upper peninsula and down your lower peninsula. Okay. Now, most of you got it. So I think we're going to say you are now qualified to come with us to Michigan. Okay? So please do.
That community that Ron mentioned, the largest Arab American population concentration in the United States, Dearborn, Michigan, that's my hometown. And I'm thinking about that hometown a lot. So our last state for tonight, and he's going to bring it home for this portion of the evening, is Wisconsin.
Hi, my name is Charles. Okay, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm at a loss here. I'm a little torn. I help run Common Purpose, and I'm looking at my watch, and I'm like, man, we're 10 minutes over. My job is to go up there and convince these people to care about Wisconsin. Do I really need to do that in 2020 to make them care about Wisconsin? I don't think so. So you can go to our website, a bunch of information. There's a one-pager that I made that's pretty flashy and cool. But I'm going to remind folks about what I said back in 2018 when I was making a pitch. And that was that the best thing about Wisconsin, about joining the team, is not about the state at all. It's not about the state. Let's be honest. Many of you are taking notes right now, people writing down dates and stuff, and thinking about like races and all these like really minute details. You are going to choose a state based on your schedule and whether or not you know somebody in the state. 40 to 50% of the people who travel to a state in common purpose have lived there, gone to school there, worked there, family, right? So that's how you're going to choose your state. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The reason why Wisconsin is special, though, is because of this one statement. It's because you all come to common purpose for the work. But you stay with common purpose because of the people. Team Wisconsin has the best. Can you stand up? Can you stand up? I'm going to Team Wisconsin folks, please stand up. Oh, Steve, Mary, yes, please stand up. I'm not going to belabor this. The team, the leadership team, I'm not up here with anybody else because I run the team with a leadership team. The stories out of Wisconsin are legendary. Ask around. So actually, don't come to Wisconsin. We're full. We have a good time. We love it. It's wonderful. It's perfect as it is. Do not join us in Wisconsin. In all honesty, though, where we do need you is in a few states. And David, can you come up for a second? So, again, I help run Common Purpose, David, and the responsible thing for me to do right now. And if you really want to help us, and you're flexible, and you don't have family in a certain state, or your calendar is flexible, I want you to go to the state that has the need. A lot of people flock to specific states that you hear about in the news. Wisconsin makes like mathematical sense. Kentucky doesn't make any mathematical sense at all, but a lot of you want to go there, right? Because it's hitting the headlines. So where do we need the most help? So think about, if you're flexible, there are certain states where we need help, and David's going to tell you what those states are.
All right, so Charles said a lot of you are going to choose a state based upon schedule or your affiliation with the state. On our website, under National Fieldwork, is the teams that we know when they're traveling by dates. It's a calendar on there, you can look by dates. But I also know some of you have asked me and others, hey, could you maybe guide us? Tell us, what would be the states where our engagement would be the most valuable? So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say a few suggestions based upon size of signups and the impact that you can have. So we really need people in the state of Pennsylvania. That state is going to determine the selection, all right? Pennsylvania is going to be right over there under that light in about 3 minutes. We really need people in Alaska and Kansas, for sure. Take a flyer on Kentucky, do it, but don't do it as your first trip. Okay? Because it's a long shot. But Kansas, we can win that Senate seat. Alaska, we can win that Senate seat. All right? Iowa, we can win that Senate seat. We need, these are states I'm mentioning, we need people. Maine, I want to fucking send 150 people to Maine, okay? All right? And Anita has said they can do it, all right? With that, Anita lives in Maine. She can handle us coming there, all right? Ohio, there are 2 Supreme Court seats in Ohio that if the Dems win those seats, have flipped the Supreme Court from 2 years ago, 7-0 Republican to 4-3 Democrat. All right? So it isn't just the presidential election that matters in Ohio. It really matters. Colorado, we're not winning the Senate without beating Cory Gardner. These are all states where we need people. North Carolina, it's 4 yeses, 4 big yeses. Tom Tillis needs to go down. Tom Tillis is just bad, okay? All right? Georgia's got 2 U.S. Senate seats. 2 U.S. Senate seats, one that's a re-election with Purdue, Sonny Purdue, and one that's an open Senate seat, all right? That can go blue, all right? You do not need to go to Wisconsin. Charles is joking, but serious, right? We've got a great Wisconsin team. Michigan has got 4 big yeses. Absolutely, Ron and Donish can take 100 people there in the fall. They can, all right? Ohio, Troy and Baguette, you're going to drink a lot of alcohol if you go to Baguette, all right? You're going to get this, all right? We need people working in Washington for sure. I'm going to tell you straight up that we don't need more people signing up for Arizona. We have 165 people on the list for Arizona, all right? The flight down there, it's a lovely, warm place. It's all good. But we're at max capacity there, okay? If you're thinking of going to Arizona, let me just suggest you go to Iowa, all right? Okay, Iowa has 26 signups right now, 165 for Arizona. Come on, let's love Iowa, right? But here's actually, I want to be real serious and close this, and the state team leads will go stand by their areas. Because hard stop, we have to be out of this room, all of us, done and chairs picked up by 9 o'clock, okay? And the state team leads are going to go right to those areas for you to talk to them, and then all those one-pagers are on the website. But listen up, please. The reason we have 19 states is because we have 1,400 people on our email list. If we had 50 people on our email list, then we'd have 3 or 4 states, all right? But Charles and I have a running argument. He says, can we fill those states? And I say yes. I want us to send 40 people to every state to voter register. Because in Kentucky, what they told me when we went in 2019 is we are tired. We are tired and we need your energy. All right? So we need to go there. And we need to go back to 100 people in the fall. So we need all of these states to be filled. We got a good half hour of caucusing, go talk to those state team leads. And at 8:45, we're going to hard stop and clean this place up, all right? Thank you. Hey folks, we gotta start moving on the way out of here, alright? So let's get all the chairs and tables picked up. We gotta be out here in 18 minutes.